Hey guys, welcome back to CoinLedger. So today we're going to be covering Heroes of Mavia. This is a project that we've talked about multiple times on the channel. One that has actually gone through a little bit of FUD here recently in the recent developments and recently what's been going on. We'll get into that in this video and give you guys my opinion on if this token is still worth holding, if I still have conviction in Mavia. Obviously, this is a project that we have talked about for years now on the channel. Long before they even had a token, way back when they first started building towards the end of the last bull market. So as always, if you guys get value out of the video, if you guys could consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, your support means a lot. Now if you take a look at Heroes of Mavia, what happened here, obviously we saw it over the 1 month. It went from about these current levels around $1 all the way up to $2.50, and then it dropped quite sharply here. We made a short on it on the YouTube, but if we see on the 9th of December, it actually went from about almost those $2 range, $1.80, and just dropped fast down to about $1.30, about these current levels. Now, a big reason why we saw such a harsh drop is because there was some FUD around Heroes of Mavia with the Mavia token getting delisted from Binance. I believe Binance Futures or Perps. It was actually getting delisted. Now, I explained it in the short that, to me, that was not a big concern because we've seen time and time again, I think if I recall right, XRP was an example where if it got delisted from, those Binance trading spots, whether it be perps or futures, that it only went on to get a spot trading on Binance. Now, one thing interesting about Heroes of Mavia that I think a lot of people don't realize is that Binance Labs actually did seed invest into this project back in 2022. So I mean, you already have big investors into this project like Crypto.com invested into them. They're listed on Crypto.com. Now, this is not always a surefire thing that is going to make a project get listed on that exchange. But with Binance Labs being, it says the lead seed investor into Heroes of Mavia way back when, to me, I think that it's a stronger chance, in my opinion, for Heroes of Mavia to be listed on Binance than it to not be listed. So to me, the FUD around the whole being delisted from Binance Futures is completely, nonsense, in my opinion, because it's not unheard of for projects to get delisted in that way off Binance, only to be followed up with a spot trade. Now, that is my opinion on the recent FUD. Now, going forward, if you guys are not familiar with what Heroes of Mavia is, obviously, we'll do a quick recap. It is essentially a Web3 Clash of Clans, kind of a base builder game, mobile game. So they actually have had their game live since, I want to say early February of 2024. But again, this project, as you saw with this in the seed rounds, this project has been building since the last bull market. Now, they did not go ahead with their TGE, with their token, until this year, February 2024. So they've been building forever. They have massive funding, as you saw on the previous page here, with Crypto.com, GuildFi, Binance, Animoca Brands, Merit Circle, which is now Beam, just to name a couple. So as far as, funding and backers go, this project is very solid. Again, if you want to try out the game, you can download it on both Android and Apple. You can download Heroes of Mavia. If you like Clash of Clans and this game is for you, I have it on my phone. I do play it occasionally. I used to play it a lot, but nowadays I just play it whenever I can. I still kind of get, try to grind the Ruby, which brings me to the next announcement. They do have their exchange going live tomorrow. At the time of recording this, it'll be going live today at the time of this video going out. So we do see that they're going ahead and launching their Mavia exchange, which was formerly the Ruby swap, which actually makes it so you can swap your Ruby for Mavia and vice versa. So I do believe with this, there's going to be a earning potential, finally, which we have seen in other projects in the past from the last cycle, stuff like Axie Infinity, Pegaxi, Crobata. As soon as there's a way to earn in the game and swap it out, that is where, that could drive a lot of attention and money and players back into that ecosystem. Now, obviously, Heroes of Mavia already has millions of downloads on their game, so they have a huge player count already. But if this is going to be a, way to earn in the game, now, as far as how lucrative it's going to be, I do not know that personally. I've not pulled anything out as the exchange has not gone live. I think they do have, in documentations, they put out the exact swap, but we will see. Obviously, it's going to be going live today at the time of you guys seeing this. Now, they also went ahead and went live with the Mavia staking, so they have plenty of updates within their ecosystem. Again, they have that working product, and they only put out, quality stuff. Obviously, we see Beam, one of the top infra plays in gaming, shout them out. Now, another reason why I'm bullish on Heroes of Mavia still is because, one, they have a working product. It is fun. It's not reinventing the wheel by any means, but we saw how big Clash of Clans obviously got in Web 2 over the last decade. So I think, obviously, there's a huge player base there. And I played at Clash of Clans a lot back in the day. I got extremely far into that. Man, I actually like Heroes of Mavia a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bias of the Web3 side, or just starting over and starting the grind again. But I do like the game personally. But not only am I bullish on it for that aspect, because they have a good quality project and they put out constant updates, and now there's going to be a way to actually earn in the game. But if we take a look at Heroes of Mavia, they did, go ahead and announce earlier in Q1 of this year when they went live that they were choosing base as the L2 that they wanted to build on. Originally it started on Ethereum, and then they did go ahead and announce base as what they were going to choose for their L2. Now, back then, we made a video covering that decision, and I told you guys that I thought that was a genius move because we've been calling for a while that Base was going to be a hot ecosystem this cycle. It just makes sense with Coinbase. Obviously, they're going to be pushing their Base chain extremely hard to new investors and retail when they come into the space. It is one of the leading tier 1 exchanges, obviously, and one of the top downloads typically in a bull market as far as exchange listings go. So when we see that they're building on Base, if we take a look at the Base chain, we can see that Base has only been growing, over, since the beginning of 2024, and I continue to believe that Base is only going to continue to go to the upside as far as liquidity flowing into the ecosystem. So we can see that Base is a growing ecosystem with no signs of slowing down. So projects that are built on Base, I think, are going to see a lot of upside because there is no Base token. So if you want to play the Base ecosystem, you have to, potentially invest into projects that are built on the Base chain. So that's one reason. Another reason why I'm bullish on Heroes of Mavia building on Base. But if we look at gaming as a sector, we can see that obviously this is the gaming sector here on CoinMarketCap. We can see that if we look at the 30-day, gaming has obviously pumped along with the rest of the market. Now we are on a little bit of a pullback here recently in the last couple days, a week or so, and I do expect with Bitcoin breaking around the 107 range, I do think that we're going to see just all over again like what we saw with Bitcoin getting to 100k. I think we are going to start to see the market shift back to bullish again, because in a bull cycle, what we talk about this quite often, there is going to be pullbacks. Obviously those are times for potential dip buying, nothing to panic sell over. So I do think we're going to resume as normal, but as always, nothing I say is financial advice, just giving you guys my opinion. Obviously everything could just keep dipping tomorrow and not come up. That's always a potential chance, even though I think that is unlikely. And if you look over the 1 year, we saw when Heroes of Mavia launched back in February, that was when gaming was hot. It peaked out for the year at about a $40 billion market cap. And then over the summer, gaming has not been a hot narrative. We've seen it get overshadowed by stuff like memes, AI, deepen, stuff like that. So gaming has been on the back burner, only to show signs of life very recently in Q4, again, as we saw in Q4 of 2023. And then gaming kind of went back up, but it did not, as far as market cap goes, take out its prior highs from the beginning of this year. Now, I do still think that gaming is going to be a hot narrative this cycle, because as far as utility goes and just the connection it makes between blockchain and real world technology with Web 2 and Web 3, bridging that gap, we see it on stuff like off the grid. It only makes sense, in my opinion, as far as real world application. Gaming and DPIN, to me, those are the two sectors in RWA that really make the most sense. It is crypto. A lot of stuff is vaporware, but as far as actual utility using the blockchain, gaming, I've said it forever, just makes a lot of sense. Now, again, I'm not going to beat too far into that on this video. So if we look at bullish aspects, well, they have, again, that funding from Binance Labs and major other VCs. They're on a hot chain base. Gaming has, reacted quite well already to the cycle. Obviously it's not going to run consistently all the time. It's going to run in narratives as, crypto. That's just what happens. Now, if we take a look at all those aspects, and then you combine the fact with its vesting schedule. Now, again, this is also something we covered when they they went ahead and made the change quite some time ago by extending the vesting out. They did no token unlocks quite some time ago, months ago, till February 2025. Now, when we take a look, there is about 14% of the supply currently out. But between now and the end of 2025, I believe it is only about around a 2%, roughly a little over a 2% 2x in dilution. Now there is still no unlocks until the beginning of February. As we see here, the team still hasn't gotten any of their tokens. Now they will start getting them obviously next year. And if we take a look at the vesting schedule, we can see by the end of, now obviously early, that February unlock is a decent unlock. Obviously we haven't seen one in quite some time, but by Q1 2025, ideally, I do think the markets are going to be a lot more bullish and in full swing than we see right now. But that is still some time away, so nobody quite knows. But when we see there is an unlock in February, then in May, August, and then November. So if you look at the end of 2025, again, 30%, that's roughly a little barely over a 2x in dilution between now and the end of 2025. So as far as dilution goes, yes, there is a difference between the circulating and the FDV as far as market cap goes. But when you look at the vesting schedule, it is really not a concern, in my opinion. There is many other projects across all narratives that have a 5, 10, 15x in dilution. We've covered these projects, so yes, they are out there. There's projects that have a 15x dilution between even when they launch this year to the end of 2025, so in not a lot of time. So for a project of this caliber, this kind of backing, with all these different points going for it, to only have about a 2x in dilution, to me is a very bullish aspect of the project. Now when we look at the price action, again, this thing was able to launch. Obviously, they TG'd at the right time. It ran from about, I don't know, I think it was 25 cents or something. It was a lot less than it'll show here on CoinMarketCap when it hit the open market, but it still ran up all the way up to about $10, which was around a $300 million market cap. Now, do I think that Heroes of Mavia is going to take out those highs? Personally, I do. I still think that Heroes of Mavia has every chance to be one of the hot leading games on the base chain, alongside stuff like Super Champs is another one that gets a lot of hype that we've talked about briefly on the channel in the past. But as far as projects that I'm currently looking at, I'm still looking at Heroes of Mavia. Full disclosure, I've been open about this to you guys multiple times every time we talk about Heroes of Mavia. I still hold a position in Heroes of Mavia personally. This FUD, when this happened, I did not sell a single part of my bag at all, because again, with all these different aspects going for Heroes of Mavia in their favor, I don't see anything to be worried about. And again, being delisted from Binance Futures, I have personally, this is just me speculating on the fact that Binance Labs was a seed investor, and because of the caliber and the quality of the project with all the funding they have. And when we take a look at their exchange listings, again, they're already listed on stuff like Bybit, KuCoin, HTX, and Crypto.com. To me, personally, I think that we do see a Binance listing on Heroes of Mavia. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. I can't tell the future. I'm just going off of literally all the same information I just shared with you guys. So I'm speculating hard here. I don't know, but I do think, again, being delisted from Binance Futures or Perps is really nothing to be worried. That's just my opinion. That could prove to be wrong. Again, I don't know. I can't tell you guys that's for sure going to happen, but I think the likelihood, in my opinion, there's a greater chance for it to be listed on Binance than not to be listed. So that is my bet that I'm personally making, why I still hold a position in Heroes of Mavia. And again, this is one that we've been having faith on and covering for years now. We've been following this project, and I think that they do personally everything right. And now we take a look at the price action. I mean, they've been trading around these, this $1 to $2 range, pretty much all summer long for the last 6 months. So if you are looking to potentially get an entry into Heroes of Mavia, if you can see all the points that we covered as a bullish fact for the project, then essentially you are buying, we could say the bottom here on this project, because gaming isn't running in a full-blown gaming run right now, and they just faced that recent FUD, as we saw that they were climbing up to $2.5, potentially $3 if that didn't happen. Now, in my opinion, I do think that this is going to blow off. I do think that Heroes of Mavia, long term, to me, is still a $500 million to $1 billion circulating market cap token. Now, it could not hit those levels. It could exceed those levels and really just eclipse them and go higher than that. But I don't want to set unrealistic price targets for you guys, because again, nobody knows what's going to happen. But when we look at quality gaming projects that are building on base, which again we know is a hot ecosystem that is only growing, and we look at ones that have strong backing, obviously by Binance Labs and a few others, and we take a look at a good vesting schedule with about a 2x in dilution between now and the end of 2025, and the fact that they get shout outs by big quality projects in the gaming space. They put out nothing but constant bullish updates, in my opinion, and they are going to go live here literally today with a potential way to earn in the game with the Ruby and Mavia swap. These are just too many factors, in my opinion, to not bet on this project, not bet on this team. I do think Heroes of Mavia is going to turn this thing around, and that really there's nothing to turn around. I think that the FUD is completely just smoke. I don't think there's anything to be personally worried about. But as always, that is just my personal opinion. Please comment below your guys' opinion on Heroes of Mavia. Do you think that this project is not going anywhere? Do you see the potential of Heroes of Mavia? And besides Heroes of Mavia and Super Champs, what are other top gaming plays on the base ecosystem that you think are going to be a staple, a leader in the gaming space, again, on the base ecosystem? Please comment them below. I'll try to answer all you guys' comments. And as always, if you guys want an optional way of supporting the channel, if you want to know what I'm doing in these markets, what I'm looking at, there is a Patreon linked below, or there's a Discord also if you want to get in there as well. That is also an option. And if you guys got value out of today's video, or if this helped clear up any kind of doubts or concerns or questions you had on Heroes of Mavia, then please, if you could, consider liking the video, commenting, subscribing, sharing, hitting the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, see you guys.